Leo.
Hello, Leo. So how is your birthing process going on? This is your forecast for May 2014. And yes, we're still processing here in May. And for those of you listening to this forecast on the April side, you're already in it. Started there in May, really kind of riveting it up. And in many ways, we can say we're looking at the weather map. We're looking at space weather. We're looking at the emotional weather map, the spiritual weather map, and we have weather. So the thing is, it is an exciting ride. We are recreating ourselves. We are liberating ourselves. We're transforming. And by no means is all of this necessarily going to be easy, but what it is going to do, it is going to set us straight to actually open up new doors and get into new dimensions of our life. Now, even Mother Earth is going through this. We can see little earthquakes here and there when the pressure of the tectonic plates suddenly gives slip like this. That's Uranus and Mars, and they're opposed to one another, so the friction builds, and then it slips. We have Pluto, which is volcanic, so that's inner pressure coming up and then suddenly giving out, right? And so we might come to see some of that too, some eruptions, and if not on the physical plane with Mother Earth, which could very well happen, it could happen within us because we have the very same energies on this weather map, okay? And what's on the map? Got that grand square. So there's opposing forces, and they're also squaring each other 90 degrees here. So there's a lot of pressure here that needs to give. And but it's all good. And what I'm really happy for is it's the third time around. We had this late autumn last year. We had it there at New Year's, remember? Then we had that big stellium there on New Year's Eve, squaring and opposing. Well, here we are again. It's the third time around. So you know what's happening. It's not new. You're more empowered, and this is why I'm a little bit more excited, because for many of you, you're already knowing what is changing, what needs to go, so that you can be more free to actually start expressing and creating more of those visions, dreams, and hopes that you have. And therefore, I'm excited. So let's just see what is going on here and which areas that are mainly affected for you here in May. And it will be between your 12th and your 6th house. That is Jupiter in the 12th, which is your subconscious house. It's also where Spirit now is trying to recuperate from a 12-year journey. It's like trying to now live up to and expand this area of spirit and consciousness so that it's ready to kind of breach through there once we get into late summer, when it changes signs, and it will be entering into Leo, your birth sign. Fantastic time will be coming from, say it's July, I don't have the date written down here, but July, August there, and it will be with you for a whole year, where you're going to see how that inner self of yours is going to expand. Your personality will expand, and then you're starting a new 12-year journey here from this summer. So you're kind of wrapping it up right now. Now, the opposition to Pluto there in the 6th house, well, Pluto is your day-to-day routine, and some of you might have felt there's been a lot of pressure on your routines, where a lot of responsibility has been weighing on your shoulders, where Pluto is saying, I'm going to stick to it. Why? Because I need to. Because Pluto, see, is in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn is the most ambitious sign of all 12 signs. Having Pluto there, Pluto is like this laser sharp beam. Staying focused, will not deviate from the path. You know, it's like that mountain goat, okay? Up the mountain. Pluto's keeping you there, and Jupiter is saying, yeah, but there's so much. I need to rest, and I can't rest because 12th house is resting, right? I can't rest when I'm supposed to because Pluto is keeping my attention over here. But it's all good. This pressure is going to be over soon. There's deep, deep, deep and huge lessons to be learned in this balance and this opposition. But then we have the other opposition that's creating the square, and that is between your 9th house and your 3rd house. 3rd house is Mars, and it's in the area of communication for you, Leo. And so you might feel that you're very Marsy more than usual in your way of communicating. It might come up a little, you know, I won't say harsh, but it could be a little both antsy and a little aggravated, perhaps, especially when the transits are really tight, you know, in degree. It might just want to erupt, you know, and Uranus up there is saying, you know what, I want to free myself from this tension. The tension is the people around you and how you communicate with them, how they communicate with you. Maybe they are coming out of the woodwork and being more aggressive towards you, and then I see you wanting perhaps to react towards it, or try to go in and balance it, because Mars is in the sign of Libra. And Libra loves everything that's balanced. It really feels sick if it's not balanced. And so Mars here is trying so hard to maintain harmony in this area of communication, and yet at the same time it's so unpredictable, because Uranus is unpredictable and it's up there in the 9th house. So you're wanting to liberate this, and you're wanting truth, because see, one of the key words of this major square is staying true to your truth, no matter what happens. And it might be a little iffy up there with Uranus, because it's in that 9th house of Jupiter, and Jupiter is a part of the square. So Uranus is like having you figure out how to renew. This is what Uranus does. It wants to renew and find new original ways of reinventing yourself in the way of communication or teaching, or also reaching for different truths, higher truths. And there might also be some courses coming in. Metaphysical courses would be excellent for you at this time, just because it's in that house of higher understanding. But Aries up here, see, is really wanting to see action, be physical, drifty. You're expending so much physical energy right now in everything that you do, that you just want to make sure that you're not, you know, burning your candle both ends here, because rest is required for health. Health is a part of this. Recuperation is also part of this, the 12th house. You know, and then you're running around, you're driving to and fro, back and forth, and even speaking and messaging, being on the phone a whole lot, following up on who needs to do what. This is what Mars is trying to balance here in Libra. So you can see, but you know, you're going to have a little bit more of this here in May, and then we're starting to release a lot of this. Okay, so actually now we're looking at the tail end. We're still going to have another square between Uranus and Pluto. That's going to be later on, but we won't have Jupiter and Mars involved, which is really making it really powerful for right now. But the upside, let's look at the upside, and because there are definitely good things here in May, which is going to allow you to bring forward new things. We have the new moon here in your 11th house for social groups, networks, and so forth. New people coming into your life, exciting people, knowledgeable people. This new moon is in the sign of Gemini, and your 11th house is that Uranian house, which brings new thoughts, new ways of thinking, people who are a little bit different from us, so that we can have something exciting to grow towards. You know, it's like new mentors coming out of the woodwork, or you might just become also a mentor for those who need you. We also have Saturn here in the 4th house, which is going to be securing up, stabilizing Jupiter. So you'll feel that a little bit later in the month. It's more towards the end. It's on the 24th. But this is going to allow you to feel that, yes, in spite of all the weather on this weather map, I'm still doing good. I'm still on track. You know, I haven't lost, you know, that oversight, the overview, which is so important for you Leos. So you'll feel that this is good also for those areas of the home, family, the past, Saturn in this area is going to be visited by the full moon, which will be here on May 14th in this area of the home. So something nice here, something completing itself, a completion that's going to give you a good sense here this month. That's nice. Also, anything that has to do with your past might also come in and lay down a good foundation. Then we have the 8th house. We got Venus there, at least the first few days of the month until the 3rd, where it has been transiting throughout April. And having Venus in the 8th house, it's the house of intimacy, what we share with our significant other, or just the intimate secrets of one's life, or sharing with anyone else that's close. The 8th house is also money that you have shared in joint resources, which could be banks, investments, it could be commissions, royalties, bonuses. Great time for that on the April side, and the first few days in May. Then it's going to transit over into your 9th house, which I believe for you will be a great place to have Venus, because it is trining your sun, and it will give you a creative edge, and also maybe an itchy feet. Maybe you want to travel here in May, just to get out and about and take a little break, and you could definitely both need it and deserve it after everything that's been going on these last few weeks. And there is an unexpected surprise with this Venus when it touches upon Uranus. That will be a little bit later in the month, mid-month, on the 15th. You'll have that unexpected surprise. And but what it's also leading up to, though, a little bit prior to you get this, will be on the 11th. This is the day to mark when Venus first will oppose Mars, and that is between the 3rd and the 9th house as well. And so that might be when you're feeling, I got to do something, you know, I got to break away, I got to break free, I got to have air under my wings. This is when you're going to feel somewhat antsy, especially also because it is like tying into this big square, the grand square. So the anticipation of something's got to give might just want to send you out of town for a few days to relax, do something, just to get into another type atmosphere. And then on the 15th, unexpected nice surprise coming in. Then we also have Venus here squaring on Jupiter, and this has to do with money on one sense, because Jupiter is also involved, but I see it more as values, what you hold as being true to you. Venus in the 9th house has everything to do with not just higher knowledge, but it's in the house of truth, what you speak as truth, what you take in, what people around you share with you of truth. And then Jupiter being involved, which rules where Venus is, well, it being square, you might hear something that doesn't sit too well with you on the 18th. And it might just be something that you will have to confront or bring up. I don't really see that you're wanting to let it slide by, because it's staring you. Now the Sun and Mercury is in your 10th house for career this month. This allows you now to move out of that 9th house of last month, and now focusing on how you can expand your career, where you're wanting it to go, and anchoring something in. The Sun and Mercury both in the sign of Taurus gives you a money orientation. It also has to do with your self-worth. Taurus rules that 2nd house of self-worth. So now you're like at that time of the year, and it only happens once a year that Sun and Mercury transits here. So this is your time to really look at those objectives, the goals, the ambitions, and kind of moderate and adjust where you're heading with that. Mercury will later on move into let me see, Cancer. No, yes, it will be Cancer at the end of the month, but it will first change signs here into Gemini, into your 11th house on the 11th. So that will be into your social house, where you will probably spend more time out with friends, wanting to hang loose a little bit. There's a lot of chit-chat going on always when we have Mercury in its ruling sign of Gemini. The Sun will follow into this area of being social and hanging loose with friends from the 20th of May. So both of them here will be doing good. Plus, you have the new moon too in this area, right? But that's not before May 28th. And that would be the time for you to put down your intentions of promising yourself that you got to take time to be take off, be with your friends, and a little bit more social time, I believe. But it could be a big month for groups and organizations, because that is also the rulership of the 11th house. So you can see how you're going to be spending a whole lot more time there after the 20th, when the sun gets in there. Then I would also like to speak a little bit about the full moon here this month. It's going to be in in Scorpio. And so for you, this full moon is going to be full of deeper feelings, deeper intentions, really looking at the authenticity of what is going on in your foundation of your everyday life. It's like where you're at. Is this where you want to be, and what is it you want to change about it? The moon is going to illuminate this. And it might be a sober full moon because it is conjuncting Saturn, which has been working in this area for the last 2 years for you. And so having them together here, this is going to be around the 14th. You may feel it into the 15th as well. So yeah, a couple of days there where you might just feel that you want to be by yourself, so you can sort out or feel these feelings. Now, we also have Mercury here trining Venus. This is a good time here towards the end of the month. This is the 28th. This is communication. It's what you communicate, how you communicate. Mercury now in your 11th house. Venus coming to you here from your 9th house. So once again, we're looking at that higher thought, the way you process truth, and looking at those who deserve that generosity of spirit that you have. Do they measure up or not? You know, there's something here that I feel, whatever has been a little foggy, well, it's going to put this on the map on the 28th, when Sun and Neptune are going to be square to one another. There might be some misunderstandings or miscommunications, but I see that you can definitely go in and shore that up relatively quickly here at the end of the month, as Venus there on the 29th then moves into the 10th house, out of this area, giving it a break. And then also Mercury moving into your 12th house for resting up. Okay, it's time to step back. You've been very busy throughout all of May, where Mercury has been in that area of groups, and now it might just want to, you know, put your feet up, watch a little TV, you know, and just kind of veg on the inside, and then listen to that silent voice of spirit coming in, regenerating the very DNA core of who you are. And then at the end of the month, we have Sun powering up here towards Mars in a beautiful aspect. It is a trine. Mars in your area is the 3rd house, okay? Communication, where things have been a little fiery. Now the Sun is coming in and saying it's okay, you know, it's supporting it. And so you might feel that things are now starting to balance up, harmonize a little bit. And Mars is going to be with us here until the end of July, July 25th. And then you will see that things are going to calm down in a much larger way when it moves out of this area, where it then, at the time, will have been residing for 8 months. Not 6 weeks, but 8 months. So definitely there's a lesson here for all of us, wherever we happen to have our Mars. For you, Leo, it is all about communication, how we communicate, you know, and so that's been a biggie there for you. So this is pretty much what we have for you here this month, and June will be an exciting read to look at, as the planets then are starting to calm down, but it has now then opened up. So by the end of this month, through what you're going through in April, if you're listening to this early, and what you're going through here in May, wow, it's a biggie. It's a big month. It's a big 2 months here, probably some of the most strenuous ones that we've seen in a long time, that won't come back around for a long, long time. But it's so essential, because as a collective group of people, humanity here, we're all lifting, rising, merging, becoming one in a higher sense in our consciousness. And for this to happen, it's happening everywhere to all of us, somewhere in our chart. So it's not just you. Think about it. It's everybody now cracking through here so that we can become, perhaps, hopefully at least, better human beings. So listen to your moon and your rising sign. I'll see you next month, and do remember to subscribe if you haven't before. Bye now.